Pono Pau joins me post Power Slap 12, where he took on Dorian Perez. Couple days out. How is it sitting and feeling right now?
I'm good, Core. Yeah, everything's solid. Not that much damage was taken. Just a little bit around the eye. Nothing on the hand. Nothing on the arm. Shoulders are good. So just kind of really taking in. Taking in the loss, making sure that we redial, we refocus, and kind of look at what happened and just
Mhm.
continue on with life. Just make sure that we still stay training and we still doing all the other things and just making sure that we do the checklist. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't get the outcome that you wanted. I mean, looking back, could you have done anything differently?
No, honestly, not. There's nothing in the form that could have been changed. We got to give it to Dorian. I appreciate Dorian a lot because he really went out there and he showcased how strong his chin really is. He has a good solid base, and he came out there to really prove a point. So nothing I really
Mhm.
can take back from the fight itself. There's a few things that we can speak on, but all credit goes to Dorian. Can't take anything from him. He came out there with business and intent, and that's exactly what it is. He's meant to be up there for a reason. He's number one in the
Mhm.
world for a reason, and
Yeah.
I was happy to be able to stand with him.
Yeah. I mean, we'll pull up the footage. We'll go through the fight itself. But did anything surprise you within Dorian? I mean, I knew, obviously you knew that he'd be a tough competitor, but was anything either on the offensive side or the defensive side, shocking or surprising when you actually got up there across the table from him?
Yeah. So not so much of like shocking, but a few key things, and as we, you know, really look at, you know, as it being an athlete in the sport, we start to dissect certain parts of the movement and everything else, and it's a very common thing right here. You're going to see it in the very beginning. Once Dorian gets hit, he has that a different type of brace. He really gasped for air at the very last second, and in that motion, it kind of does give him that little bit of power where he can shove and catch those hits a little bit better. His striking, overall, he is powerful, but you can already tell once he strikes me here on this first one that there's something wrong with his shoulder. You know, there's a chink in the armor. Something happens. This
Mhm.
part right here is what caused that stumble. Is originally, I'm already set and I'm braced up and I'm ready to go. And I don't know what that at that point in time what the referee saw that was a little bit different that he needed to reset me. But at
Mhm.
this moment, I'm not thinking the same way. I'm actually going right back in there, trying to set up the same exact way I did, but I'm a little bit off. And you're gonna see it in my left foot right here in that angle. Is that as soon as he makes that connection, my heel rolls back, which causes me to stumble. And that was, the deciding factor of that very first round is, even though he didn't knock me out or put me on the ground, that stumble causes that little step back right there. I'm still coherent, still open. It was a hard hit, but I'm solid. I know already that I got to go back there and I got to be able to go out there and deliver. I don't know who this person is, but
Yeah,
she's definitely
she was
promoting pie.
yeah, yeah. Too
So
funny.
as I take this hit, it's solid, right? It's in the target area. It's right on the spot where my beard, shows. So
Mhm.
can't take nothing from that. He placed it in the right place. Didn't lead with a palm, so it wasn't called clubbing. But that
Yeah.
stumble right there was the deciding factor of the first round and being able to see like, okay, well he really put a hit on me. And right here, kind of just set up and going back out again. In this moment, you're gonna see it. And shout out to Dorian. He really does have that, exciting factor to him. He's been able to stand there with the best. He's very experienced, so he understands. He's got a good
Mhm.
solid brace up against the podium. He's locked in there. His hands. He likes to do the motorcycle handlebars, is what he likes to call it, where it twists in the back. So he's locked in
Mhm.
all the way across the board. And I think the only other thing is that this is common Dorian right here. Is that you'll see it as soon as I place the hand on him. Right before the hit's about to come, he'll gasp for air, which causes his whole entire body to do that lean forward. which in return it's a flinch. I got called for it too. That right there doesn't look like much from this point of it, but once they go back into the slow mo, you'll see it. It's like that gasp of air causes him to kind of bow down and lean. Head shifts. There it is to the corner. Bam. I'll show it
Mhm.
again right here. Head shifts, leans down. Bam. So that because he gasps for air that way he does and closes his eye on that one side, it causes him to kind of lean into where the slap is coming from, and
Mhm.
we would consider that a flinch. You know.
Were you, I mean, you look slow and lethargic. Like, were you feeling yourself in this time? Like, I may not be the best word, but you look very, I don't know, you just look very slow in your motion.
Oh no. So yeah. So so everything from the walkout to everything else, I really wanted to just represent what I always represent as God, and I really put it out there. And I think with that excitement, it was very very low, very very mellow. It felt like we were in church. So I kind of carried that throughout the whole entire battle. But this right here, as I'm
Mhm.
bracing, I'm calm. See right there.
Mhm.
Hate that. Just keep on looking down. Don't worry about his hit. Don't worry about his hand. Don't worry about how fast it's gonna come. Don't even look up. And just let him hit me. No movement. Bam. So this hit, you're gonna notice that there's a lot of chin space there. So he hits me almost on the back part of my jaw.
Mhm.
Possibly could be another club. This one is not really set in stone. This one you can see it kind of hits on the very thick part on the back of my jaw, but I mean to the eye you can't really tell if that's a club or not. It's kind of on the far back end of here and not on the front end of my jaw, which we're told you know f- an hour before and also the day before, on weigh-in day, that this area is the target area. Anything behind here and behind the head, nothing
Mhm.
there. Anything that's above the hairline up here shouldn't be where you should be hitting, where you should be
Mhm.
landing. So, potentially could have been a club, but I'll give it to Dorian. If they called it, they called it. If they didn't, they didn't. But so I come back out here again. I set up one more time, drop it in here. Now on this one, he gasps for air. He does the same exact thing, but he doesn't lean into it like the last time. So
Mhm.
Dorian's very, very, keen to understanding and making on the spot decisions and changes. So from that first
Mhm.
one, see how he closes his eyes, but his head doesn't move this time. He just closes his eyes. So that's it. It just kind of it doesn't lean forward. He doesn't do all that stuff where he did in the first one. And he just catches it at that moment. He knows and he's made the adjustments already. He knows that
Mhm.
the heat, the power that I had on the first one, on the second one, on the third one, the power is not going to be stronger than the first.
Mhm.
It's always the first one that really is the deciding factor. And he knew
Mhm.
that he could eat that one, so he's just moving on now. Now he's just going to
Yeah.
play his antics and just continue to go. He's rotating his shoulder because that first hit that he did messed his shoulder up.
Mhm.
I don't know what happened in the movement, but it definitely shifted his shoulder in some odd some way. So you're going to notice that any hit after that, his power diminishes, starts to go lower and lower and lower. Set up for round three, and this is the
Yeah.
one.
He kinda using the same setup as you on this one.
He did, and I knew he was going to have that.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the one that catches me right in the eye. Bam. Same thing,
Round
shake his
3.
hand, but I knew it already. I was like, man, that thing hit me in the eye. Now watch when you look at my face, as soon as
Mhm.
I turn around, watch his thumbprint where it is. Bam, that's in the eye. Look at my all my hair is visible. You can see my whole chin line. It's because it hit it up above. And then
Mhm.
look at where his thumb is. His thumb is literally on my hairline all the way down this whole entire part right here. Look at that.
Mhm.
That's a club. His hand is in my eye at that moment. And this part right here is I'm talking to the so originally, Chris Tione had already called it as a fair blow. Look at that. No chin. All top of the head. Chris Tione calls it as a fair blow, so we take it for what it is. But I know I can't see. it's kind of blurry in the corner. It's all red on this backside of here because he hit directly in my eye. So, at that moment, I'm going to make it well known that, hey, bring the doctor up to let him look at my eye because, and I tell him at this moment, I tell the doc, he goes, you can see? I was like, yeah, doc, I'm going to continue no matter what happens. It's like, I'm going to continue no matter what. I can see you. It's a little bit blurry, but it ain't nothing. I'm going to continue to hit at this moment. And then he goes, I look at him and he says, the only reason why I brought you up, doc, is because I wanted you to see that it hit me directly in my eye. Nothing else is said. And even at this moment, Corey, then, kind of don't want to dabble going back and forth with anything like that. But, the officials had told me already that is like, they're not calling a lot of these things because they want the matches to stretch out and they need it to be, a well performed show. And it's like, and for a match like this between two monsters like this that really do have power, it's in the best interest of the show to continue to keep on letting the cameras roll and don't call fouls and don't call all these other things because how would the show look like at the very end if every match that you went through had inches, had all these
Mhm.
other things?
What do
It's not gonna make for a great performance. Because of
you
what
can't
happened to my eye, you're
yeah.
gonna you're gonna notice right here that this slap right here, I just give up. You'll see me swing and I just stop and look at him. Bam. That's it. It's like I just kind of gave up because I knew already. It's like, okay, they're not gonna call for that club. This is a given match. And at that moment right there, it was just kind of like, hey, slap him in the face and take the L. And just kind of look the part, be the part, just go out there and just really just show the showmanship in me. It's like that. I'm not gonna let things just kind of break me down. But in my head, I lost this one already. I lost that last throw because I just lost all confidence in myself. I said, "Oh, you know what? This is if they're not gonna call a flinch, if they're not gonna call a club, then this match is not mine. It's not at the end of the day. Like I didn't do anything to him to potentially, cause that same thing where I get point deductions. So it is
Mhm.
what it is. I had to accept it and just kind of move on with it. Even at the end when I'm kind of like I point to God and I hear the numbers and I'm like I point up and I'm like in my head I'm just like please, in some odd way it's like let the judges see at least something like that. But if they're not calling it, they're not calling it, of course. So
Yeah.
it just is what it is.
I'm gonna pull this up here real quick. Here's the scorecards. So we've got three corners here. We've got the white and the blue, 29-28 for Dorian. And then we've got the pink corner had a 29-28 for yourself. So it was a split decision.
Mhm,
All three judges gave Dorian the first round. Two of the judges gave Dorian that second round. The pink
mhm.
corner gave it to you. And then ultimately, all three of the judges gave you the final round, which actually funny enough is the one that you were just talking about with the high strike and saying giving up on your strike was the round that you actually won upon. Um, I mean,
Right.
just I'll just ask it straight. Do you think you got a fair shake or do you think you got robbed?
I don't want to say it where it's like I got robbed because it takes away from the striker. He really went out there and did what he needed to do. He delivered the way he needed to, and we kind of knew, just from watching Dorian's. I studied the craft, so we kind of knew that Dorian was going to come up with some of those things that we typically see every single time in every single Dorian match that we see was going to be those things right there: the gasping for air, the leaning forward, clinching to the side a little bit. It's the inevitable. People pick up habits along the way, but if the robbery did happen, it's not on the striker side. So it's an official thing. People need to really pay attention and watch and understand what's going on out there. A striker over time, because of very popular strikers like Ryan Phillips and Dwayne Cresswell, calling every single thing that happens out there, whether it looks like a club or it doesn't. It kind of taints the water at points in time to where when things actually really do happen, you can't make that call on your end, and say, hey, you know what, this guy did this. Because at the end of the day, the officials are just going to go exactly with what they see and how they feel that the match went. They will deny you off the back to watch a review or anything else. They're just gonna say, nope, that was fair blow, and you need to go out there
Mhm.
and just go and take your hit, just like how it's supposed to be. So
Mhm.
at the end of the day, Dorian did a great job going out there and really showcasing who he was. And he has a chin. And it's
Mhm.
like, but as we watch the sport progress in views and in likes and everything else and social media wise, it's starting to make a big digression in just the rules and the rule set itself. You know, I really honestly believe that anybody can deliver a shot without moving their feet and without lifting up. So no heel lifts, no pivoting, no none of that. And it's clear. You watch me throw a hit, my feet don't go nowhere. I don't lift the heel. I don't do any of that stuff. And it's like, so it can be done. So that the rules like that needs to be changed because then it starts to be very dangerous. People are gonna start to find ways in between heel lifting and pivoting and doing all the other things to get the most advantage out of it. And that's not going to be good for strikers. At the end
Mhm.
of the day, I don't care about power slap itself and like how many views and how many likes it has. I care about strikers. I care about the people that are going out there and putting their chins on the line. It's like it could potentially save you a beating by really enforcing the rules that are placed before you.
Mhm.
Contact with the fingers and the hand first before anything, right? All three have to make simultaneously hit the target. Those are
Mhm.
rules. The target has to be hit first before any lifting happens, but you don't see that now. Even though they say it, they just say it. That's all they do. It's like, oh, okay, well, don't, no heel lifting. But then you ask them another question, and then they go, well, if he preloads and he does a heel lift here, then yes, that's okay. But if you preload your heel up before you make contact, that's you lifting your heel. Those
Mhm.
are, there's contradictory to both ways. It's like you can't say one thing and enforce that and then go back and say, well, this is a thin line where you can do these things. So at the end of the day, it really needs to be sharpened up on like the official side, on the calls, because I'm not the only match. I'm not the only match. Michael gets a club in the eye from Paige.
Mhm.
That wasn't called. Hunter gets a club from Angel. That wasn't called. And I can see it from their standpoint where if you continue to call all these fouls and you continue to call these flinches, that it's just going to make the sport look bad because the strikers are not really practicing what needs to be done to really go out there and practice for perfect form, accuracy, precision, and really just kind of be professional out there.
Mhm.
It's not gonna it's that's the part where it's not gonna make money for anybody. Is that people are just gonna continue to club people, continue to foul people, and it is what it is at the end of the day. And on our end, that's how we accept it as strikers. It's like it is what it is, and it's like that's a bad way to be looking at a professional sport now, especially in the growth, where
Mhm.
it could potentially be the next big thing, right? And it's like that the cleanup needs to start happening now and not later, because
Yeah.
that later on down the line, you're just going to introduce bad habits, and that
Mhm.
can point and tell all these things that's been happening. So
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's definitely been an evolution. There's been a growth, as you said. The growth has to be done, in a sustainable way, and one that is able to be managed as it goes along. Obviously, a lot of things in play, and I mean, either way, we'll all be staying tuned to see how it evolves. I appreciate you, my man, joining me. Appreciate giving me the insight. I'm glad to hear that you're doing okay. I know you said that you still have some visible bruising around your eyes,
yeah,
but
just right here.
hopefully we see you back again real soon, my man.
Yeah, a core. I got something to say. I got something to say before we get off.
Okay.
As I've been having these things pulling me back and forth and about how this goes and the way that the sport's looking like now, and you know, minus the my match that I had against Dorian and everything else, and it's just in an overall standpoint. And I haven't spoken to Erica and I haven't spoken to Frank yet. about what it looks like. But I will have that conversation with them sooner or later. But this might be my last time. You know, just because of the fact that I don't want to continue on with something and put so much love. I've had this with previous jobs that I've had, and I put so much love into it. I put so much love into the people, and it kind of just burns you. And it's a different type of burn. It's
Mhm.
not it's not one that you can take away, because it's different when it comes from your heart. And I've had a lot of people go out there and really not claim a lot of their stuff that they do. I mean, it's proof is in the pudding. You watch
Mhm.
people and you see them, express the same movement, the same lineup, the same execution, the lean on one, whatever it may be. But people live in what they want to do. They want to make a claim for themselves, whether they win, whether they lose, however it is. It's like it starts to
Mhm.
become really tainted in a way, and I'm starting to feel that now. I poured a lot of love into a lot of people, and I've been trying to be the most influential and uh, and inspiring person in the sport, and it's starting to play a toll on me, where I
Mhm.
can I can see that it's not going in the progression that the sport should be going in. So I still gotta sit and talk with Erica, and I still gotta sit and talk with Frank, and really talk about what the future looks like. But
Mhm.
as of right now, this might be the last time you see the Hawaiian assassin.
Yeah. Well, I'd say, man, I think you definitely one of the most influential people the last year on the sport. You definitely made your mark. Speaking for everybody, I hope it's not the last time, but obviously, you've been doing it your way the entire time. And I know you'll do what's best for you, yourself. But selfishly, I hope we see you back up there again, my man.
Love you, Corey.
But you got much love, my man. Appreciate you. You always have a home here at Slap News. All right.
Thank you for everything.